Hey friends, Dory here for Gamereactor in my homeland of Iceland for Slush Play. Now I'm meeting up here with Jonas from Raw Fury Games. There's a handful of publishers for indie games that I think of when I think of quality, and Raw Fury is already right near the top there. And that's one of the reasons is because of your philosophy behind picking games and stuff. Can you expound a little bit about your philosophy when finding games? What are you looking for?
Wow, sure. First of all, thank you. We're glad to hear it after as we're relatively young. We've only been around for a year and a half. But maybe to offset that, I mean, we're 5 people. All of us have been around for quite a while in this industry. Many of us come from the development perspective, but we've also been on the publishing side for a while. When it comes to games and finding games, well, we don't have any sort of portfolio strategy, and Raw Fury is really founded on the principle of being like a for happiness company, and that doesn't only extend to us, like the 5 people that are there, but also to the people we work with, right? So actually finding the right partners, because what we believe is that to make magic, to make great games, you need exceptional collaboration, you need great partnerships that are filled with trust and integrity and honesty and openness, right? So that is actually a core element of what we look at. So we don't only look at the game, we also look at the people that are making the game and how our interaction is with them. When it comes to the games that we end up working with, we're all fortunate enough to, like I said, we've been doing this for a long time, and a lot of people know us, and I think all of us have kind of hopefully a good guy reputation. So we've been fortunate enough to attract a lot of super talented people that show us what they're working on, and because we're small, we have an inherent need to be very picky in terms of what we work with, but also because we don't have a portfolio strategy, we have the luxury of trying to really go after the things that we see and we immediately love, right? Internally, what happens is that all 5 of us have to fall in love with something to go on. And the reason for that is because we want to make sure we are all in as well. We want to be as excited as the developers that are making a game. So we buy into your vision wholeheartedly, and that's essentially it.
And now one part of that, good guy strategy that you mentioned there as well is your continued post support for developers, kind of a no strings attached approach. Can you expand upon on that?
I mean, it ties into the whole for happiness thing, and it doesn't mean that we're nonsensical when it comes to the business side, and obviously we want to continue being happy with Raw Fury. We have to make money as well, both for us and for the developers we work with. But it extends from that. We want to make sure that we have partnerships where people feel that they're treated well and that they are happy and they are a part of a larger whole, even though they're separate companies, that this is something that you feel a part of, right? And it extends to the players as well. One of the reasons we want to make sure we kind of look at the long term and support both developers and games on kind of a longer basis instead of the fire and forget way, is because it's also out of respect for the players that buy the game and love the game. As long as there are players out there that are enthusiastic and it makes sense, we want to be able to help the developer keep supporting the game. So we try to build whatever we do in that sort of fashion, that it's not only for our happiness, it's not only for the developers' happiness, it's for everybody that has something to do with that project, including the people that end up playing the game. We want them to be as happy as we can make them. But then of course that might be a very altruistic and unattainable goal, but I think it's still a worthwhile goal to pursue. And so far it seems to be working pretty.
I mean, if you reach for the stars, at least you'll get somewhere.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Now, for those uninitiated with Raw Fury and your portfolio of games, let's go through a couple of the games that you've already published and upcoming titles.
Sure. So, I mean, our whole journey really began with a game called Kingdom. um, which you know, I've been in love with Kingdom since I saw it first. And originally it was like a small flash game made by one guy in Amsterdam, Thomas, an incredible talent. He then started to collaborate with a friend of mine, and this is how we started talking to them, and they wanted to do like a bigger version of the game, and again, like I was totally enamored with Kingdom, and all of us were at Raw Fury. So we developed a partnership with them, and it's still ongoing. We released the game in October last year. About a month ago, we released the first major expansion for it, and what we did there is actually we gave that expansion away for free to all those that had already bought Kingdom, but then we raised the base price of the entire game. And what happened, again, talking about the respect and openness and happiness, this is something we talked about when we basically set the game out there, right? So it was a very well-known plan. And what we did there is we honored the people that came with us on the journey early on and bought the game and wanted more. But then as we added a lot of new content and expanded on the game, they got rewarded for sticking with us, and then new players that are getting a vastly bigger experience, then they pay a little more, and like it turns out that everybody's pretty happy with that model, and again it helps us maintain this kind of long-term thing. The next game we did was a point-and-click adventure called Kathy Rain, and that's actually like I've been playing point-and-click adventure games since I was small. And that's a game that, again, when I saw it, I started playing it at like 10 minutes to midnight. And I thought to myself, I'll play it for like a half an hour, 40 minutes, and then I'll go to sleep. I literally came to like 4 hours later, so 4 a.m., right? I came to, and it's because there's this moment in the game it's phenomenal, and it could feel like the hairs in the back of my neck go like, and that's when I knew it was just, the story was amazing, the atmosphere was amazing, and it just pulled you in. So if you were a lover of those sort of games, I just knew already it had that magic. And again, made by one guy that lived in Stockholm and lives in Stockholm. Joel is his name. And but we kind of knew that would probably not become this, because it's a very niche genre at this point-and-click adventures, right? So we knew that it would be harder to do this kind of long-term maintenance in that sort of way. But what we did instead is we knew the game would eventually be financially successful, but we wanted to make sure that Joel, the developer, could also get there. So we made a plan where he where we basically supported him, and he's now working on another game. There are no strings attached to this, but it's another way of kind of ensuring a longevity in the relationship.
So you're financing his studio for another year, and then he might come with you with the idea, or
yeah, exactly. There are no strings attached. We have no claim on that new game whatsoever. Third game is actually just coming out on October 12th. Goner.
Oh, I can't wait.
Me neither. We're now playing the test builds, right? And it's like I have a hard time not staying in my hotel room for Slush, because we're seeing new builds, and this. It's just one of those games that just kicks you in the gut. It's super fun. The music is awesome. The atmosphere is, again, it's fantastic. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
I'll give you my email when we're done here. I'm getting that test build.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then recently you showed off Torment X Punisher.
Tormentor X Punisher. Yeah, that's another one that. And again, I mean, if you just listen, when I'm listening to myself talk, you can hear that this is a very diverse portfolio. It's a very all the games are kind of different, but what they all have in common is that they really speak to some core emotion, core experience, right? So if you look at Kingdom, it's all about this sense of discovery and adventure, and just figuring things out on yourself, and those secrets and aha moments that you have, right? Kathy Rain is all about the story and just trying to figure out what's going on, right? Again, maybe this sense of discovery and adventure. Goner is this super hard, adrenaline-filled, great experience that just gets your juices going. And again, TXP is kind of that in that vein as well, but it's even more pure adrenaline, super fast, dual stick shooter, and it just, you're right there in the game when you start shooting demons. There's no complications to it. It takes you in. You go like, oh, and a minute or 2 minutes or whatever, however long you last later, you go like, oh, come out of it and go like again, and that's what we see when people play that. And for me personally, it takes me back to my days of when I saw Doom for the first time, which again is it's different. It's a different game from TXP. But it gave me the same emotions of like this incredibly strong feelings of adrenaline and just like this instant gratification through gameplay, right? Which is, again, very far removed from Kingdom. But this is what we look for. We look for games that make us feel like this strongly about what they are. And, so for me as a gamer, it's fantastic to work with these.
Now your approach has been PC first, premium, which a lot of smaller like indie publishers kind of, okay, what are they doing there? But I heard some whispers during the conference that there might be a game coming that's hitting iOS first.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of elaborate on that, like we do like PC first, premium, and like premium only. I think we're sticking to, but really, I mean, we will look at anything that has that sort of magic, and we won't tie it down to like a specific platform. And I think like I've worked on the mobile side before with premium games actually, and I've seen the power that they can have. There are a lot of people out there that like premium games on mobile, right? The actual like big experiences even. So that audience is there. It's maybe not as big or influential as kind of the free-to-play audience, but it's definitely there, and they want high-quality games that really give them that kind of emotional, feedback that I'm talking about, right? An experience. So yeah, I mean, from our perspective, this if we see a game that has those elements that just get our juices flowing, for lack of a better description, then maybe the platform is not the thing we keep a super like laser focus on, right? But I would say still the modus operandi is probably like premium, definitely, and then PC first, probably, yeah.
Any details on what that game is, or maybe?
No.
Okay, we'll wait for that. But yeah, I wanted to touch upon one thing there, because you're talking about your philosophy of finding games that give you that fuzz. But there's also, I have this sense of you're not in it. Of course, you're in it to be profitable, but you're not in it to make millions and millions of dollars. It's like you want to get at the experiences out there, and of course, it's a business. But it is more about getting, the actual gameplay and the experiences out there. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, it's a fair assessment. I think a lot of people in this industry are like they're making games because they have a passion for games, right? And I've been doing this for quite a while. And I'd say for me personally, what I started to notice maybe a few years ago is perhaps over the last 10 years or so, the emphasis between the two words that make up what we do, games and industry, right? And the emphasis maybe over the last decade or so had been too much on the industry side and too little on the game side. And that kind of got me to think, and like just going back to why did I start doing this, right? Why am I here? What do I want to achieve? And what makes me happy, right? And so, yeah, I mean, absolutely Raw Fury at its core is for the love of the games that we work with. And again, it doesn't mean that we're not smart about our business, but these two things can go absolutely hand in hand, and there's no reason why you have to sacrifice one for the other if you kind of know what you're doing, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I think that's about it. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck in the future.
Thank you.